Silverstone Media TV. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Silverstone Media TV. Let's talk. Hi, I'm Caroline Stevens and this is Let's Talk. And on this episode, I'll be talking to Chloe Foston, a singer-songwriter, a playwright, a very talented woman, I think. So without further ado, hi, Chloe.
Oh, hi, Caroline. Hi.
Nice having you on Let's Talk.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you.
So let's, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
Well, my name's Chloe Foston. I'm a singer. I write songs. And I was an actress. I trained at the National Youth Theatre of Great Britain and the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, now the Royal Conservatoire. It's changed its name. Like James McAvoy, David Tennant, they trained there. So that
So with the big boys, eh?
Yes, I actually trained with James McAvoy. He was in my year, so yeah.
Unbelievable. So, Chloe, this pandemic has been really hard for singers, songwriters, actors. I mean, across the board, all the arts, all the entertainment industry, the hospitality industry, well, for everybody really. But I mean, how have you found it personally? I mean, were you doing loads of work and gigs before the pandemic began?
Yeah, I mean, I was making an okay living from it. The last gig I did, it was really, really good. It was at the Richmond Theatre in North Yorkshire. It was with Solitaire. It was I do a Carpenter's tribute sometimes, and it was brilliant. It was a really good night. People even stood up at the end, and I thought, oh, great. And then it all ended.
It all ended up. Who would have thought?
Pardon?
Who would have thought that this was going to happen to us?
Yeah, absolutely. Who would have thought it?
Crazy, no?
No, it's not been easy, but I mean, a few things. Ironically, quite a few things happened. Good things to me in the past year. I won a songwriting competition in April, the First Cut Songwriting Competition run by a man called David Mindell. Yeah, he's written over 1,000 jingles for various commercials like McVitie's, Bank of Scotland, Budweiser. He wrote the theme tunes for the National Lottery, Euro Millions. He's written loads. So I've never won anything in my life apart from a Burns poetry competition at school. So when I won, I was screaming, and my mum thought something bad had happened. I did my play that I wrote called Joseph's Goal. I wrote it for a Wigan charity called Joseph's Goal for a little boy called Joseph Kendrick, who's got a life-threatening illness called NKH. It's quite hard to say. It's non-ketotic hypoglycemia, and it's caused by an excess of glycine on the brain. Poor Joseph, he's severely disabled. He suffers from seizures, and it's a really rare illness. And so he was the mascot for when Wigan Athletic won the FA Cup. And a friend of mine came to me with an idea about it. Would you write a play about it? And I don't really know a lot about football, but I did it. I wrote the play, and I managed to get some of my favourite actors involved in it. A man called John McCardle, who was Billy Corkhill in Brookside. He's been in Emmerdale. He's been in Holby City, Doctors, Casualty. He's one of my favourite actors. So John agreed to be in it. And I got Bhaskar Patel, who was Sharma in the deal.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I was over the moon because I thought, well, it's so nice to do something to help somebody. So if people hear the play, it raises awareness about Joseph's condition, and it just helped to raise a bit of money to, for better treatment.
So what happened? Did the play go ahead?
It did. I was so pleased it went ahead. Some of us had to record our lines at home, though. So the producer, a friend of mine called Gareth, he did a fantastic job of, just doing it all, merging everybody's little bits that they'd had to do at home, because obviously because of safety. And, we did it when the restrictions were lifted briefly, though. Restrictions were lifted briefly until things got bad again. Second wave, but yeah, I'm over the moon about it.
So where can actually, I mean, obviously not now, but where could people see that play?
Well, it's an audio play, so basically it's done like a radio play, and basically if they click on Joseph Scholl on Google, it should take you to iTunes, and you can buy it.
So let me ask you, Chloe, I mean, how has the pandemic and lockdown and all the restrictions that we're all living under, how have they affected you from a personal point of view, and also from a professional point of view?
Well, I've been trying. I mean, I've been doing little things. It's given me time to work on things I want to improve, like my piano. So I've been doing a lot of classical piano playing, and I've not heard Les Dawson's voice, so I've improved my piano and I've been able to write a lot more because I just love writing.
Good. A lot of people have said that to me, that although they're not actually out there gigging and earning money, if they're lucky enough to have a little studio at home, little setup or instruments at home, they've actually been doing a lot of creative stuff at home.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my friend Andy Whitaker, who plays Mike Swirling in Emmerdale, Andy and I have become really good friends since Joseph Scholl. So I wrote a little play for just two people, a man and a woman, about a camping trip that goes horrendously wrong in Scotland. And so Andy and I made that together, a little audio. He did his bits at home and I did my bits, and he made the play up, and it's just great to hear
Yeah,
plays.
It's wonderful, isn't it? I mean, it's wonderful if you're a creative person. I feel actually sorry for people who are not creative, who are stuck at home with nothing to do. At least, creative people can create.
That's right, because it gives you something to do. I mean, even days when I'm practicing the piano and I think, oh, that's terrible, I played terrible today, at least it takes your mind off things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it takes your mind off what you're kind of worrying about, because so many entertainers, they must be so worried about when they're going to...
Of course. I mean, what do you think about what the government said? I think it was a couple of months ago. They said that, the concern for the music industry is obviously, very concerning. But their advice was, because they couldn't give musicians, performers an exact date, time when they could gig or go back to work, they advised all performers to take up something new, learn a different career. I mean, I thought that was ridiculous.
I thought it was patronising, and I thought it was insulting, and I thought it was disrespectful of people who have trained all their lives, for example, right, when I've done pub gigs and, I've had so many songs to learn, and, learning songs doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And I mean, many a night my friends have been out, to pubs, having a good time, and I've not gone because I've wanted to stay in and work for a gig I've had to make sure I learn the songs, So people don't realise the hard work that goes into it. And I mean, they had a slogan. It was a poster with a dancer. It was a girl with a pair of ballet shoes, and they were saying, "Oh, it would be great if the name Sarah, or I can't remember the name, starts a new career in radiography or something like that." And I thought, well, that's insulting. She's trained all her life to be a dancer, and how is it? It's not as easy as that to just jump into a career.
In my opinion, that it's not easy, because I always believe that if you're a musician or a singer or a songwriter or a playwright, I mean, anything to do with creativity, it's in your heart, it's in your soul, as well as all the training and learning you've had to do. It's something that's in your blood. You can't just take that away. It's something that you're going to always want to do. So that's when I heard them say that, I just thought, that's ridiculous. How can you tell a singer, a performer, to go and learn something different? I mean, would you tell Elton John to go and get a new career? Would you tell Beyonce to go and get a new career?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't have the nerve. But the government, I must admit, when I heard about it, I just thought, it's really quite insulting. I mean, it was, last week's interview with Simon was really, really interesting, because he was saying, as a performer, he said about you can't be snobby. You'll do any work you can. A performance is a performance. And any performance takes hard work to absolutely. So let's just talk a bit now. We've heard about your playwrights and all that stuff. Let's talk about your music. You sent me some stuff, and in a minute we're going to be playing a bit of one of your tracks, so everybody can hear you. First question: what would you say comes first to you, your music or your writing? As opposed to writing songs or writing plays. I think where I'm most happiest is probably writing plays, if I'm being honest. I probably prefer that to performing. I'm really, really happy behind a computer just typing away, but it's just getting plays out there. But I'm sure if I just need to get some guts and push them a bit. But I love writing plays. I mean, I've been up sometimes till about 5, 6 in the morning writing writing plays. But I really, really enjoy it, and that's one thing about the pandemic. It's given me more chance to, work on that. I've got so much.
And when you write plays, I mean, are they all fiction, or is there elements of truth in what you're writing? Are you writing things based on yourself or people you know?
A bit of both. And what I try to do, I used to sit in cafes, and listen to people. I would just sit and drink a cup of coffee, endless cups of coffee, and just listen to how people speak. And and a lot of my plays are based on things that happened years ago, but I've remembered them, and I've managed to make a story or a play out of it. I try and get in people's minds and think, well, what would they say? What would they think? And I mean, it's given my mum a good laugh, because I read her my plays and it makes her laugh. So I'm happy with that.
Mums are always our best #1 fans, aren't they?
Yeah, and with my mum,
and the worst critics.
Yes. I mean, when I got into drama school, she did tell me not to go, because my mum had worked as a PA in a repertory theatre, Perth Rec, so she knew firsthand about how hard acting can be. So she did advise me. She said, "Are you really sure you want to do this?" And again, it harks back to Simon's interview last week. It was really good advice. You asked him a question about what advice would you give young performers.
I did, yeah.
And he said, "Are you really sure you want to? Because you've got to have a really thick skin." And he's absolutely right. You do. That's what I said at the time. So.
All right. So let's talk a bit about music then. So this particular track that I'm going to play in a sec, It's a lovely song. It's a bit sort of got a country music vibe to it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Is
I
that
love
if?
country.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I get a sense that you like that kind of music.
I do. I love Shania Twain. She got me through college. I think I played her album to death. I had to buy another one. I really love Shania Twain, and I love her. Well, her story is very painful. What she went. I read her book, and I was really moved. Her parents died in an accident, and I thought, God, what she's been through is incredible.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so let's have a listen now to one of your songs. So everybody, this is Chloe Foston and her music.
Woke up this morning and I didn't know where I was. Then it all came back to me. I done it again because I'm in a stranger's bed and I'm here all alone. Said he'd call me later, but I know that he won't phone. I won't hold my breath, 'cause that I never do. I'm just playing a game of who's kidding who. One of these days I'm gonna get it right. Hold on to my dignity and stay home at night. These false friends and lovers ain't gonna give me what I need. Tell me that they love me, then they leave my heart to bleed. So-called friend just call me, sell me out this night. I was dancing down the tables, I was high as a kite. She thinks that I need therapy, I should settle down. It's easier for her 'cause she's the prettiest girl in town. One of these days I'm gonna get it right. Hold on to my dignity and stay home at night. These false friends and lovers ain't gonna give me what I need. Tell me that they love me, then they leave my heart to bleed.
That was great, Chloe. Loved that song. So when did you write? When did you start writing songs?
I did residency singing in holiday parks, and I started writing songs then. I had an old Yamaha keyboard, and I would, and the amount of songs I wrote that were terrible, they went in the bin, and I thought, oh, they're awful. So it's just been a bit of a dream come true, just getting them recorded,
Yeah.
because it's very well and good having ideas, but sometimes the ideas are just never materialized.
No, I know. It's very hard, not just today. It's always been hard for singer-songwriters, if you haven't got a recording set up at home yourself and you know how to use Reason, Logic, Cubase, which most general singer-songwriters don't, it can be quite costly and hard going to get your music recorded.
It is. It really is. Not so much if you do covers, but if you want to do your own music and get somebody to do arrangements, it is very expensive.
Yeah, it is.
It is. And what I've done in the pandemic, I've invested in trying to do it myself. I mean, I'm nowhere near ready yet, baby steps with it, but it's a learning curve, and it is difficult doing it yourself. Very difficult with stuff like Cubase and Audacity, Logic.
It is. But there are a lot of obviously I work with a lot of record producers and stuff in my musical career. My husband as well, he's a record producer. But there is now a cartel of record producers that have got together to try and help young singer-songwriters during the pandemic, to offer their services for them at a very cheap price.
Oh.
There's about a dozen of them that have all gotten together and said, look, this is a hard time for all of us. We're okay. We've made it. We've had hit records. Let's try and help these young individuals, singer-songwriters, get their songs. I mean, they're not giving them full productions. They're just demos, but they're bloody good demos, because they're done by top people. And they're doing that at a really reasonable price, nowhere near what they would normally charge like major record labels. So that's a good thing, I think, and if anybody out there wants to know about those services, just message me, contact me via Let's Talk or the YouTube channel or Silverstorm Media Facebook, and I can give you more information on that. So we're going to take a little commercial break now, and then we're going to be back to speak more to Chloe. Silverstorm Media PR. We are specialists in online PR. For artists, for your music, for businesses, for your product. If you would like to talk to us about any of these things, please contact Silverstorm Media. You can email ssm.pr@hotmail.com or call us on 07919 954 636. So, Chloe, let's talk about the future. What have you got planned for the future, or what are you hoping to happen in the future?
Well, in the future, this was by complete accident. It was a few years ago. I started writing little sketches, 1-minute sketches that I perform. And it was my friend that said to me at the time, he said, "Oh, Chloe, you really just ought to put them online." And and I was too scared at the time. I thought, oh no, but then I pushed myself to just put them on Facebook. And so through that, I met a lovely man called David Streams. David Streams is an actor who trained at the Guildhall, and he's got a great CV. He played Ternadi in Les Miserables at the Palace, Bill Snibson, Me and My Girl, the Adelphi Theatre. He's a fantastic actor. And he contacted me, and we're in talks now to do a play called Two by Jim Cartwright at the Civic Theatre in Chelmsford in Essex. And I love Essex. It's a fantastic place. I think I worked in Essex for 3 months. So the only problem is we have no date yet. We have to wait till the restrictions lift. But what David wants to do, he wants to put it on, perhaps stream it. People can buy tickets to watch it online, and then perhaps put it on in the theatre for 2 weeks and maybe do a tour out of it. And it's called Two, as I said, and it's for a man and a woman, but it's really challenging because I play 7 different characters in it.
Wow.
So yeah. So I got the play. I sent away for it a few weeks ago after he spoke to me about it, and I read it and I thought, oh my God, 7 different characters. But you know what? It's really given me a focus.
Yeah, and also given you probably hope for the future.
Definitely. And it's nice to have a break from singing, just do straight acting. And I didn't think I'd ever really do acting again. So it just goes to show, with what you post online, you just don't know who's looking
or reading. We don't know what's around the corner, do we? We literally don't know what's going to happen to us. So let me talk to you about something else now. Mental anxiety, stress. I have lots of friends who, like yourself, are musicians, singers, songwriters, who have not dealt with the pandemic very, very well, lockdown very well. And so many of them are now suffering with anxiety, stress, depression. I even went through a phase myself, actually, of being so down and depressed and thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen to the industry? Where are we all going to be? Are we ever going to be back to where we were? And I think it can, cause a lot of depression and anxiety for people. So hearing your very positive story is why I brought this up, because you've just said, we don't know what's around the corner. You don't know who's watching, looking, listening at your Facebook, social media. So, for those people like yourself, singers, actors, playwrights, what would you say to them?
I would say, whenever you're feeling a bit down, and it's totally allowed, it's totally understandable for you to feel down. Of course you are. There's been days where I've thought, oh God, what's around the corner? What's going to happen? My advice, when I'm feeling like that, I just try and do something creative, even if it's just practicing piano or, you know, writing something or practicing an accent or something. It just takes your mind off it, and it's keeping your creativity going. That's easier said than done, though. Some days I don't, you know.
So basically, what you're saying is focus on something, really, whatever it might be.
Yeah, definitely. Even going out for even getting into something like exercise, or, you know, because what I've found during this, you know, I've been exercising a lot more, walking, running, you know, and it's amazing how that can make you feel a bit better. I mean, my mum's always said that, because my mum's job, she was an artist, but then she became a market researcher. And my mum has always said, a bit of fresh air, it works wonders. So that is what I would say to people. But obviously, it's easier said than done. It's not.
Yeah, it is. But you are actually living proof that it does help, because there you are, you know, like everybody else, creative people at home in the pandemic, on lockdown, and you've concentrated and focused on your creativity by doing what you did, putting things online, and then look what's happened. You know, you've got this play happening, which is brilliant. So it can be done.
Yeah, I mean, Caroline, I can't believe it. I mean, when David contacted me, I literally could not believe it. You know, so
I can imagine.
You know, he's a lovely person, and I get on really, really well with him. And the thing is, I think that's one thing we can all hope for in life. That, you know, it's great to go to work with people you actually get on with, you know, and so far, you know, we've developed a really good friendship. So I'm really looking forward to working with him. I think,
and especially, I think, I mean, obviously it's important to, wherever you work, to have that good, you know, relationship with your colleagues. But I think especially if you are a writer, whether a playwright or a songwriter, if you're co-writing anything with anybody, you have to have a good relationship. So, because you have to feed off of each other.
That's right.
And if you don't have a good relationship, you're not going to feed off of each other. And you... No. And the creativity just doesn't flow, does it?
No, absolutely not. So I've been very, very lucky, you know, with what's happened. So all I need now is just a date, you know, for it to happen, you know, because I love Essex. It's great. It's a great place, you know.
Yeah, I used to live in Essex, actually.
I love it.
A long time ago. So let me ask you a bit about yourself again now. So obviously you're Scottish, everyone can hear that, and what a beautiful accent that is. What part of Scotland do you originate from?
I'm from Perth originally, but my mum and dad moved to a place called Arbroath. Arbroath is on the east coast, and it's a fishing town. So we moved there for my dad's job. But I mean, I've lived all over, though. You know, I've lived in Wales, I've lived in Manchester, Greater Manchester, a place called Wigan. I was in London for the National Youth Theatre, and Essex. I did 3 months in Essex. It was acting in a school show. It was 2 schools a day, so we were up at 5 in the morning. But I loved Essex. It's
really. You know what, Chloe? It's been great having you on Let's Talk. I've really enjoyed speaking to you. And hopefully you'll come back again and tell us more about this play, when it's actually happening. It's just all depends on when we, you know, all these restrictions are gone and life can get back to some normality. I don't know if we're ever going to be 100% normal again, you know, because coronavirus, I think, is here to stay. We're just going to have to learn to live with it, like, you know, we live with the flu every year. But at least when we get back to some normality and your play is out there, will you come back and tell us all about it and where we can go and see it?
I'd love to. I'd really love to. Yeah, and yeah, thanks for asking me. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Everybody, let's say thank you to Chloe Foston. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Chloe. See you next week on Let's Talk. Bye. Silverstone Media TV. Let's Talk. Silver Storm Media TV. Let's talk.